In the heart of the verdant forest of hope, there lived a young boy named Joshua. He was a bright-eyed 10-year-old, known throughout the village for his curiosity and kindness. Joshua lived with his father, Bright, who was the village hunter. Bright was respected for his skills in tracking and his bravery in protecting the village from the wild creatures of the forest. One misty morning, as the sun's light filtered through the dense canopy of trees, Bright set out for the forest. He carried his trusty bow and quiver of arrows, ready to hunt for the village's food. Joshua wanted to go with him, but Bright gently told him, "Stay here, Joshua. The forest is dangerous, and you must help your mother with the chores." Joshua watched as his father disappeared into the forest, his heart swelling with pride at the sight of Bright's confident stride. Little did he know that this day would test his courage in ways he could never have imagined. By noon, the village was still and quiet, save for the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. Joshua was helping his mother prepare lunch when a stranger arrived at their home, breathless and anxious. "Joshua," the man called out, "your father has been bitten by a snake. We need to get him help immediately." Joshua's heart skipped a beat. "What happened? Where is he?" "The venom is spreading quickly," the man said, his face grave. "Bright is at the edge of the forest near the river. We must get him to safety and find the sacred river's water to heal him." Joshua's eyes widened. The sacred river was a legendary place spoken of in stories, said to possess healing powers. Without a moment's hesitation, Joshua grabbed a small clay pot, filled it with fresh water from their well, and set off towards the forest. The forest was both familiar and frightening. The path to the sacred river was not well marked, and shadows seemed to play tricks on Joshua's eyes. As he walked, he remembered the stories his father had told him about the river, the tales of how it flowed from the heart of the forest, guarded by the spirits of nature. Joshua pressed on through the thick underbrush, his steps cautious but determined. The forest was alive with sounds, the rustling of leaves, the distant call of birds, and the occasional snap of a twig underfoot. Joshua kept his eyes focused on the path, his mind set on the task ahead. Hours seemed to stretch endlessly, but finally, Joshua came to a clearing where the sacred river flowed. It was even more beautiful than he had imagined. The water shimmered with a silvery light, winding gracefully over smooth stones and around moss-covered banks. The air was cool and filled with the scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of the flowing water was both soothing and invigorating. Joshua knelt by the river and dipped his clay pot into the water, filling it to the brim. As he did so, he whispered a prayer to the spirits of the forest. "Please help my father. He is brave and kind, and he needs your healing." With the pot of water carefully in hand, Joshua began the journey back to where his father lay. The way back was just as challenging, but Joshua's resolve never wavered. He walked as quickly as he could, his heart racing with both hope and fear. When he finally reached the edge of the forest, he saw his father lying on a bed of leaves, his face pale and his breathing shallow. His mother was by his side, tears in her eyes. "Joshua, you found the water," she said, her voice a mixture of relief and hope. Joshua nodded, holding out the clay pot. "Here, mother. This is the water from the sacred river." Joy took the pot and poured a small amount of the water over Bright's bitten leg. She then helped him drink a sip of the water, her hands trembling as she did so. The villagers gathered around, watching with bated breath. As the sacred river's water touched Bright's wound, a miraculous change began to take place. The venom's dark redness started to fade, and the pain on Bright's face softened. His breathing steadied, and color slowly returned to his cheeks. The villagers watched in awe as the healing waters worked their magic. Bright opened his eyes and looked at Joshua, his eyes filled with gratitude. "You did it, Joshua," he said weakly. "You saved me." Joshua's eyes brimmed with tears of relief and joy. "I couldn't have done it without the river," he said. "I remembered your stories and knew I had to try." The villagers cheered as they saw Bright's recovery, their voices echoing through the clearing. They celebrated Joshua's bravery and the power of the sacred river, and they rejoiced at Bright's return to health. Joshua and his father stood at the river's edge, looking out over the serene waters. "Thank you for everything, Father," Joshua said softly. "I hope I made you proud." Bright placed a hand on Joshua's shoulder and smiled. "You have made me prouder than words can say. You showed great courage and love, and you have learned the greatest lesson of all, that even in the darkest times, hope and bravery can lead us to the light." Years passed, and the tale of Joshua's bravery and the sacred river became a beloved story in the village of Hope. Each year, the villagers held a festival by the river, celebrating the healing waters and honoring the boy who had ventured into the heart of the forest to save his father.